What is going on, everybody? Voidlego here, back with a brand new episode of Higurashi When They Cry. Last time we were on, we decided to go to the official channels in order to help Satoko out, so we reported it. And right now, we're just waiting and see what happens. So let's go check out the tips. Article. What article is this? Article 2. Definition of child abuse. The term child abuse means the following acts committed by a custodian, meaning a person who exercises parental authority, guardian of the minor, or other person who is currently engaged in the custody of a child, in after the name shall apply. Against a child, meaning a person who is under 18 years of age, hereinafter the same shall apply. 1. Assault a child in a manner that will cause or is likely to cause external injury on the body of a child. 2. Engage in indecency against a child or cause a child to engage in indecency. 3. Substantially reduce the amount of food for the child or abandon and neglect the child for a long time period in a manner that may interfere with normal development of the child mentally or physically, or otherwise maternally fail to perform the duty of a custodian. Or 4. Speak and behave in a manner that would be significantly traumatic to the child. Article 3. Prohibition of child abuse. No person shall abuse a child. Law number Act number 82 of 2000. Offered by the Ministry of Health and Welfare. Did I just read the like wall definition of child abuse? I mean, makes sense in this case. Statistics from the Ministry of Health. Year 1988 or something. Principal abusers in cases reported to the Ministry of Health and Welfare. Total 5,352. Mother by blood 2,943, 55%. Mother not by blood 203, 33.8%. Father by blood 1,405 to 27%. Father not by blood 488, 9.1. Year 19. Instances by type of abuse in cases reported to the Ministry of Health and Welfare. Total 5,352. Physical abuse 2,780, 51.9%. Neglect, abandonment of child 1,728. Psychological abuse 458. Forbidden from going to school 75. Sexual violence 311. Jesus. More children. It's fucked up. Are you telling me that in the 1980s? I'm first of all, I'm just gonna assume this. Like, gonna, take a little bit of grain of salt that, maybe it's. But I'm just gonna take it for, this is actual statistics. So, in 1980s Japan, most child abuse is caused by the actual parents instead of step parents. That's fucking horrible. Jesus fuck. That's just. God, fuck, man. Just. Fuck. The die of fate had been cast. Reporting to a public agency, which we kept being warned could instead result in something far worse for Satoko if we didn't have the evidence first. And just like that, had I let my emotions get the better of me in that moment, maybe I should have stayed silent and left everything to Mion, since she had been relatively calm. I remembered the punishment game where we had to bad-mouth Curry, and how me saying anything would have made it worse, and Satoko told us to leave the talking to her. Maybe it was the same thing here. I was impulsive, so maybe I should have just shut up and looked at the floor. But it was too late to amend it. The die I had thrown wouldn't be coming back into my hands. All we could do was pray for something good to happen.
圭一君は圭一君にできる精一杯をしたよ。だから あとは先生たちに任せよう。ね。
俺にできる精一杯。本当に俺が死に物狂いに精一杯だったら、里子を夕べのうちに連れ出して、どこかの廃屋にでも隠れてる。そうならなかったってことは、俺は精一杯じゃなかったってことだろ。
もう考えるのはよそ。圭一くん、少し根を詰めすぎだよ。そんな調子じゃ圭一くんまで倒れちゃう。
Just leave me alone. I left her with those words and stared lazily up at the ceiling. I wondered if I really got Chei-sensei to understand. Would the public agency intervene and solve everything within the day? Would they acknowledge the abuse and guarantee her safety? After lunch break, our afternoon classes were mostly self-study. The teacher came back to the classroom occasionally, but then the phone in the lounge would ring and she'd have a long conversation with the caller. Everyone in class got the feeling they knew what those phone calls were about. Sensei came trotting back from the classroom.
今日は何度も電話で本当にすみませんでしたね。では今日はこれでおしまいにします。院長、号令。起立。
It looked to me like Sensei had been wearing a dark expression ever since after lunch break. It wasn't a very relieving expression. It wouldn't be. Even if Sensei 100% understood the situation and passionately explained it to the other person. At the end, the Child Consolation Center, as a public agency, would be the ones to decide whether to get her to safety. Sensei understood that all as well as us. That's why she looks so unreliable right now.
ケイちゃん、帰ろうよ。部活する気も起きないでしょ。
みーちゃん、部活は誰が欠けても面白くないよ。
When I was right, it was no fun for us if someone was missing. If the teacher's expression had shown more promise, then maybe we could have gone home more comfortably. But I couldn't let myself feel relieved. I couldn't be naive and tell myself all I could do is play now that the dice have been cast. Just in case they didn't get her to safety and decide to wait and see again, I need to take further measures. We'd asked the same people who could do something official already. Then there was one more place that was worth asking for help. She might laugh it off, or I might be right, and I could be endangering my own life. But I'd try.
あ、ミオ。今日さ、お前の家に寄ってもいいか？お前、漫画かなり持ってるんだろ？少しまとめ借りしたいんだけどな。
え？いいけど。
There was an ominous meaning behind my words, so Mion realized what I really meant right away. I wanted to talk about something alone. That's what I meant.
みーちゃん、圭一くん、早く帰ろう。
Lena already had her shoes on and was waving to us from the schoolyard. Mion's house was gigantic in every way imaginable. The house itself was a vaguely old-fashioned, traditional Japanese house, but the yard, I guess, or their plot of land, was enormous. It easily convinced me that they were major landowners with Himizawa under their thumb. Mion brought me through the guest room and a servant brought us some tea.
へえ、さすが金持ちだな。お手伝いさんなんか雇ってるのかよ。
私とバッチャしか住んでないもの。私だけじゃやってけないよ。
The servant left, telling us it was 5 o'clock, then withdrew with soft footsteps.
週に2、3回ね。バッチャの世話とか掃除の手伝いで来てくれてる。3、4人がローテーションで入ってくれてるんで、大抵毎日誰かがいてくれるよ。夕方までだけどね。 あ、宴会とかがあって人手が欲しい時には別途に呼んでるんだけどさ。
If you had the money to hire all these people, then just take Satoko in. Nick glared at her as I thought that, and Mion seemed to catch on immediately.
あ、ごめん。
いいよ。金の問題じゃないことは分かってるからな。
先に言っとくけど、うちはお金持ちかもしれないけど、私に自由にできるお金は全くないんだからね。そこだけは誤解しないでほしい。
It kind of looked like I was bullying her. Mion had been apologizing to me a lot lately. Was Mion the sort of person who would do that this much? Maybe it's just that I've been looking so grim lately.
でさ、何？ケイちゃん、なんか話があったんじゃないの？
ミオンにかなり本気な話がある。突然な話でミオンは面食らうかもしれないが、聞いてほしい。
何？
あ、先に逃げ道を渡しておくな。仮に本当だったとしてミオンはそれを認めてくれなくてもいい。しらばっくれててもいい。だけれど最後まで俺の話は聞いてほしい。鬼ヶ淵村御三家の今や筆頭家、その次期当主の園崎ミオンに話がある。
At first, Mion looked like she had no idea what I was saying, but at hearing the whole sentence and putting it together, she reacted.
どこで聞いたの？
それは関係ないことだ。
I definitely couldn't tell her who told me. Takano-san, you told me not to, but please forgive me. This was why I asked you about it after all.
ケイちゃんが鬼ヶ淵村の名を知ってることだけでも驚きだけど、私についていろいろとあることないことを知ってそうだね。
ああ、あることないことだ。俺が勘違いしてるだけなのかもしれない。でもそれでもいいから聞いてくれ。そしてもしも本当なんだったら、
ケイちゃんが何の話をしようとしてるかわからないけど、話す前に釘を刺すよ。とにかくケイちゃんは大きな勘違いをしてる。だからできるなら私はケイちゃんの話も聞きたくない。聞いても何も叶えてあげられないからね。でも話すことでケイちゃんの肩が少しでも軽くなるなら聞くよ。本当に聞くだけ。何も起こらないよ。それでもいいね。
ああ。
Mion seemed to know what kind of thing I'd be talking about. She warned me that doing so would be fruitless, but much was obvious. If what I was going to say was true, then the Sonozaki family would be the masterminds behind the string of freak deaths that had been occurring every year in Hinazawa.
お社様のたたりってあるよな。
Mion nodded a little.
正体不明。なぜ起こるのかも不明。個々には解決しながらも、全体で見れば不可解な連続開始、連続失踪事件。でも一つだけ共通することがある。それは必ず村の旧敵が標的に選ばれること。
みたいだね。
Mion spoke as if it didn't relate to her. That was fine. She didn't have to admit it. For now, I just wanted her to stay quiet and listen to me.
あさってだろ、綿流し。
So Takano thinks it's the Sonozaki family, which, don't blame her.
今年のたたりの犠牲者ってさ、もう決まってるのか？
Mion didn't answer. Her expression remained the same too. Like she said, she was just quietly listening.
あ、ごめんな。聞いてるだけって約束なのに、質問しちゃ変だよな。
Mion gave me a look she'd never given me before. Our faraway look, a sympathetic one. She didn't nod, she just smiled faintly and listened to me.
もしも今年のたたりが聡子のおじじゃなかったなら、聡子のおじに変えてくれ。
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely see this coming.
だって去年は聡子のおばだろ。順番から言えば決しておかしくはないだろう。
そうだね。そういう順序もあるね。
第一、あいつ去年のたたりでおばが死んだ後、聡子を放り出して丸1年町に逃げ出してたじゃないか。そんなやつもろにお社様のたたり確定じゃないかよ。今年のたたりに選んでも不足はないはずだぜ。
そうだね。今年のたたりであいつが死んでも多分みんな納得するね。
俺聞いたんだ。お社様のたたりってのはその
No matter how I looked at it, I wasn't sure whether I should continue. No matter how I tried, the words wouldn't come out.
ひなみ沢連続開始事件、通称お社様のたたりは園崎家が主導で御三家が起こしている村ぐるみの事件だでしょ。
別に俺はそれにミオンが関わってるとかそんなのには興味がないんだ。ただもしもそういうたたりを決めている連中に渡りがつくなら、聡子のおじをたたりに選ぶように言ってほしいだけなんだ。頼む。
ケイちゃんの言ってる内容はさっきから本当にひどいこと。ひなみ沢連続開始事件が園崎家主導の事件なんだとしたら、それじゃあ主犯格は私ってことだよね。私がたたりを決め指示をし、何人も殺めて消したことになる。ケイちゃんは私を人殺し呼ばわりするんだ。
だから言ってるじゃないか。ミオンが連続殺人の主犯だろうと無関係だろうと俺はどうでもいいんだ。たとえミオンが殺人犯だって俺の親友であることには何も関係ないじゃないか。それでも全然構わないんだぜ。警察に追われたら助けてやる。お前のアリバイを作ってやるし、逃走だって助けてやる。仲間で親友だからだ。そうだろ。
Mion looked surprised for a while. She was dumbfounded.
いきなり共犯宣言？ケイちゃん、かなり大胆だよそれ。
いいから話の腰を折るな。聡子のおじを今年のたたりに。
ケイちゃんストップ。そろそろご飯の準備をしたいから今日はこれくらいにしたいんだけど。
ミオン。
I then realized that my cheeks were wet with tears. They slid down my chin and fell, drip drop to the tatami mat.
最初から言ってる通り、ケイちゃんは大きな勘違いをしてる。お社様のたたりはお社、たとえ人間の起こした事件であったにせよ、それは園崎家とはましてや私とは何の関係もないよ。
ああ、それは分かっているさ。
だからケイちゃんの必死の訴えには胸を打たれるけど、それだけ。私が叶えてあげたくても叶えてあげられない。それもわかるね。
ああ。
でもケイちゃんの気持ちは痛いくらいに分かったよ。もしも本当に私がケイちゃんの言うように御三家を操って毎年の犠牲者を選べる立場にあったなら、きっと私はケイちゃんの願いを叶えているよ。
ミオン。
でも現実は違う。私はただの園崎ミオン。確かに園崎家はいろいろな意味で悪い噂を持ってひなみ沢を影から支配している一族だけれども、連続開始事件とは何の関係もない。ダム闘争では確かに少々過激な抵抗もしたけれど、それだけ。人殺しなんて大それたこと絶対にやらないよ。
そんな悲しいこと言うなよ。せめて今だけでも嘘でもいいからうなずいてくれればいいじゃないか。
ケイちゃん、夢を見るのは勝手。私がここでうなずいてみせれば、ケイちゃんは聡子があさっての夜に解放されると信じて肩の荷を下ろすことができるんだろうけどね。でも無情にも聡子の叔父はあさっての夜も超える。来週になっても再来週になっても居続ける。それを覚悟してね。私は綿流しの次の日になぜ殺さなかったなんてケイちゃんに詰め寄られたくない。
ミオ。
Mion stood up slowly and closed the sliding door to keep out the wind that had grown chill away.
ミオさんかな。ケイちゃんにそんな話を吹き込んだのは。あの人ひなみ沢をいい感じに誤解してるからな。まあ本人が一人で楽しんでる分にはいいんだけど、ケイちゃんを感化するのはいただけないな。やれやれ、これだからよそ者は。
高野さんは関係ないからな。
はいはい。でも安心して。仮にミオさんがケイちゃんに喋ったと分かったって別にどうにもならないんだから。別にミオさんが今年のたたりに選ばれるわけじゃない。そもそも今年もたたりがあるかどうかなんてわからないよ。あんなの不幸な偶然がただ積み重なっただけなんだからさ。
聞いてくれてありがとな。もしもミオンが連続事件と何の関係もなかったなら謝っておくな。
そうだね。謝っておいてくれるかな。
So interesting. You know what? Now that I'm thinking back on it, last year was Aeon's death. So was the disappearance of God, what was the brother's name? Completely forgot. Satoshi? Yeah, Satoshi. That was it. If it really was the Sonozakis behind both the murder and the disappearance, I would get the murdering of the aunt, but disappearing Sonozaki, that makes no sense. So I'm gonna believe Mion. I'm gonna believe Mion. I don't think Sonozaki family I don't think they're the ones behind the Oshiro-sama's curse. They're behind killing a lot of people because, Yakuza clan and all that. But not these deaths. God, is the Sonozaki family the biggest red herring? That would be something. That would... Could you even call it a... It's the most clever, convincing red herring I've ever seen in fiction, if it is. I was really under the impression it was the Sonozaki family, but maybe it's not. Maybe it truly isn't not at all. It's probably the director. Which I've heard from the comments that in the original Japanese translation, or just in the original Japanese, text, it's not directly director. It can be translated to many things, like coach, foreman, and other, like, basically any reader type of word. It doesn't have to be directly director, which is very interesting. Which just doesn't make it like it's not just a director. It could be anyone, any type of leader, a foreman, a coach, a general, or whatever, which I find very interesting. Very interesting. So you know what? I'm gonna believe Mion. The Sonozaki family isn't behind the murders. Someone is. Group is. That's for damn sure. Or is it? Is it really a bunch of coincidences? Wouldn't that be the twist? Wouldn't that be? That would be the biggest fucking like twist I wouldn't even see coming. It was literally just a bunch of coincidences. That would be something. Or hell, maybe it is actually supernatural. Who fucking knows? I still don't know. We're 3 chapters into this game. I still don't know. I don't have a fucking clue what's behind the fucking Oshiro-sama's killings. It could be actually Oshiro, or maybe it's the director. Who fucking knows? Mion said she didn't have much time, but she still brought me to the gate. She said she had a meeting or something today about Sunday's Higurashi festival, so there would be a lot of people from the town council and the festival committee coming. Despite her day being so busy, she still listened to what I had to say.
天に神様がいるならさ、きっとケイちゃんの強い思いは伝わるから。
あ、今日は変な話をして本当にごめんな。今日の話はなかったことにしてくれていい？
うん。忘れておくよ。
じゃあ。
Also, I love that scene because it's very much a continuation of chapter 2. Like, I really like how these chapters are set up. Like, they're their own separate stories. Not separate stories, but they're their own incidences. Yeah, that's the best way to describe them. Yet, each one builds on top of the other chapters. For example, this scene in particular really builds on chapter 2, Mion, and like how much she carried the burden of the Sonozaki family, and how in chapter 2 it led to the worst fate, which she turned demonic, and she repressed all her like feelings, and she went on a murderous rampage, and said, well, it's just the demon inside of me, the demon of the Sonozaki family, the burden of having to carry so much on a teenager's back, pretty much. Like, you can't just expect to put so much, like, an heir to a very, very influential family and not have bad shit happen, It's so fascinating how this story is set up. It really is.
Bye.
I had really only spent a short time with Mion. Talking to her made me think. It was clear that what Takano said had told me, at least, wasn't a complete fabrication. I think she believes. Like, I'm going to believe Takano believes this is Sonozaki family, which, from her own research on everything, which, probably makes sense to her. If Mion was really, really connected to the incidents, then she probably wouldn't have listened to me so quietly. She heard me out until I was done without making any quips, and I wanted to think that was proof. I did kind of feel like I was grasping at straws. Of course, thinking back on it, it was a terrible thing to discuss. I mean, I went to my friend's house, called her a serial murderer, and then told her to kill Satoko's uncle. I was the only one talking that whole time. Mion quietly listened to everything I had to say like a pastor listening to a confession. She could have gotten angry partway through, told me off, and to go wash my face in miso soup and come back later. But she didn't. Was that proof that Mion's family, the Sonozaki, were the masterminds? Or was she just listening because she felt sorry for me going kind of crazy? That's the indecision too. There still hasn't been definitive proof that it is the Sonozakis or that it isn't the Sonozakis. That's we still I could be totally wrong. Maybe it really is the Sonozakis. You know, we still don't know. There still hasn't been in this game so far. We haven't gotten definitive evidence, like without a shadow of doubt evidence about anything. It is literally all conjecture and like just pieces of evidence here and there. You know, it's pretty much all conjecture by this point. I mean, really. I didn't know which it was, but it was the one effort I could make at the moment. It was another form of insurance. Should worse come to worse, and the public agency decided to wait and see. It was a completely useless resistance, literally grasping at straws. Since I said that if she reported it to the Child Conservation Center, they'd have to respond on the same day. Could they already be in the middle of responding to it now? Satoko came to school tomorrow morning all energetic, then everything would be just a needless fear. Why couldn't tomorrow come faster? That night was unusually hot and humid, and I couldn't get to sleep. I said all that to Sensei. They couldn't possibly decide to wait and see again this year. Satoko, what was it like for her tonight? Had she tasted the end of her nightmare during a night of liberation? I actually put my hands together and prayed into my futon.
Oh, おはよ
う。よかった。今日もお寝坊かと思ったよ。昨日はおばさまには先に行ったって言われるし、学校には来ていないし、途中で日射病で倒れちゃったのかなって心配してたんだから。
へいへい。昨日は心配かけて申し訳ございませんでした。
Just fine talking about murder.
Hey, good morning.
みーちゃん、おはよう。大丈夫？なんかすっごく眠そうだよ。
そういえば昨日は遅くまで町会の人が集まっての打ち合わせ会だったんだろ？
打ち合わせ会なんて名ばかりの宴会だよ。毎年やってるお祭りだもん。今さら小難しい打ち合わせなんかないし。
今日の午後はやっぱりお祭りのお手伝いに行くのかな？
うん。バッチャの代わりにいろいろ挨拶しなきゃなんないし。それにね、祭りってのは準備からもう始まってるからね。
Our morning conversation was lighthearted as usual. It looked like Mion had thankfully forgotten about how I barged into her house yesterday with that crazy talk. The more I think back on it, I felt like I'd really said something terrible to her. I was really thoughtless, and it wouldn't have been weird if she yelled at me. It was highly possible Takano-san had exaggerated her story, to think that our comrade and friend Mion, the young leader of the Sonozakis, one of the three families effectively controlling Hamazawa, was pulling the strings behind the serial death incidents was a little unbelievable. But if there was even a 1% chance that it was true, then what I said yesterday to Mion might have been a success. Yes, it was no more than 1 in 100, but that little bit of effort might have brought the chances of saving Satoko up by even a tiny bit. At least I made that effort. After yesterday ended, I was sure I'd done everything I possibly could. If there was something else I could do, it was probably just to clap my hands and pray that Satoko's uncle would be killed by the curse.
サトコ、今日は来ているといいな。
そうだね。先生がいろいろと手配してくれたんでしょ？うん。きっと大丈夫だよ。
ひなみ沢地区の民生委員が私のおばさんなんだけどさ、 昨べ電話して聞いてみたよ。
へえ、みーちゃんのおばさんって民生委員さんなんだね。それでさとこちゃんのことなんて言ってたの？
うん。先生があの後直接沖宮の生活相談所に電話してね、担当の職員さんが昨べのうちに訪問したらしいよ。私のおばさんにも今後定期的にアプローチするようにと連絡があったって。
小難しい話はいいよ。それより聡子はどうなったんだよ。保護されたのか？
おばさんはそこまでは知らされてなかったみたい。本来はこういうのって秘密だからね。おばさんが私に話してくれたのも十分に倫理違反なんだしさ。
くそ、かえって不安になったぞ。
So a goddamn coin flip.
行こう、学校に。
Right. Discussing this more would just make us feel worse. It was far quicker to go to school and see if Satoko was safe or not. The three of us nodded and went off. Was Satoko safe? What measures had the Child Conservation Center taken? I didn't care what. As long as we could go back to our peaceful life with Satoko today, it didn't matter to me. It threw wax at the entrance when I took a peek in Satoko's shoe cubby.
さとこちゃんの靴あるよ、あるよ。ケイチくん、さとこちゃんは来てるよ。よかった。
来てるだけじゃわからないだろ。聡子の顔を見るまで何もわかるものか。
We trotted towards the classroom. The classroom was lively, as it usually was in the morning.
聡子、どこだ？
みー、ここにちゃんといますですよ。朝っぱらから騒々しいですわね。少しはお静かになさいませ。さとこちゃん、大丈夫だった？
All of our friends crowded around Satoko excitedly.
あのさ、さとこ。家で、どういう話になったわけ？
呼んだのはどなたですの？まったく、どんな騒ぎでしたのよ。
先生だよ。あれだけ欠席すりゃ心配もする。
Satoko said I told you I'm fine under her breath. She was still trying to overcome all the suffering on her own.
私もおじさまもとんだ迷惑でしたのよ。急にあんなに人に押しかけられて、もう。みんなさとこちゃんのこと心配してたんだよ。迷惑だなんて言わないで。
ああ、もうとにかくそれでどうなったんだよ。
どうもこうもしませんわ。風邪が治ったから学校に来ただけのことですのよ。これからはあんまりお休みして心配をかけないようにしないといけませんわね。
What was Satoko saying?
おじさんはどうなったの？ええ、多少誤解があったことを認めて二人でごめんなさいをしまして。
Tug. Rika-chan grabbed the back of my collar and pulled me away.
なんだよ、リカちゃん。
Rika-chan silently dragged me all the way into the hallway.
リカちゃん、あれはどういうことだよ。
さとこは何でもないと言って追い返してしまいました。
バカ野郎！なんで？
No, somewhere in my mind I thought it might turn out like this. Satoko didn't ask for anyone's help. She didn't hide behind anyone. She was trying to ride out this pain. She wanted to show Satoshi proof that if he came back to him, she wouldn't need to hide behind him anymore.
だけど監督に聞いた話じゃ 保護司ってのは本人の意思に関係なく緊急保護をすることができるんだろう。いくら聡子が虐待を否定したって虐待は事実。
Chase Sensei family came. Her expression was far from cheerful.
ええ、前原君の言う通り、児童福祉士は緊急性があると判断すれば職権で緊急保護をすることができます。当事者の意思に関係なく。
If it's an emergency.
じゃあどうして聡子の意思が変に尊重されて保護されないことに。
それに沖宮の相談所もいろいろ検討した末にそういう判断を。
なんだよそりゃ。先生、昨日あんた絶対に助けるから大丈夫って言わなかったか。これはどういうことだよ。おかしいじゃねえかよ。おい。
圭一、実はこれが3回目なのです。過去にも2回あったのです。フルデさん、
Sensei tried to stop her, but Wicker-chan went on speaking anyway.
過去に2度。一昨年の冬に通報して様子見になったって話は聞いてるが、その前にもあったのか。
聡子の死んでしまったお父さんは聡子の本当のお父さんではないのです。
What?
リカちゃん、それが
I'm stunned at the sudden revelation. I had no idea what Wiki-chan wanted to tell me, but it seemed really important, so I couldn't get a word in either.
聡子のお母さんは再婚なのです。聡子と聡はお母さんの連れ子で、お父さんとは血はつながっていなかったのです。
Satoshi was a good kid, one who listened politely to what adults told him. He was immediately welcomed by their new father and was loved. But Satoko was different. She was rebellious, she told lies, she played pranks. Her stepfather didn't like her at all.
つまりどういうことだよ。
聡子はおじ夫婦に預けられる以前の家族の時もあまり良好な家族関係ではなかったのです。
Of course, her stepfather didn't have any malicious intent at the start. At first, he must have worked hard to get his new daughter to accept him. But the young Sadako didn't make any effort at all towards that end. She was distant towards her stepfather, never had opened her heart to him even a little. She just got on his nerves all the time with seemingly forced lies and pranks. Her father's discipline and punishment must have been loving at first, of course, but that too faded quickly.
私はその時はひなみ沢にいなかったからよく知らないけれど、昨日電話で初めて知りました。
1977. There was a fucking sticky note that referred back to a report in 1977. Motherfucker. And we also learned from second chapter when Mion was going crazy that her father, her stepfather, abused her.
先生が聞いたのはどんな話ですか？聡子ちゃんが両親、特に義理のお父さんを陥れるのを目的に嘘の話を作って、
What?
自分で生活相談所に電話したって。
自称と作り話。
聡子は嫌いなお父さんを追い払うため嘘の電話をしたのです。
Oh, child welfare officers watched there and heard the story. Their father genuinely apologized for a few times when he had gone too far and agreed to what the child welfare center give him coaching.
いろいろと関係機関が調べた結果ね、ギフと聡子ちゃんの心のすれ違いに原因があることは分かったんだけど、それ以上に聡子ちゃん自身に問題があることが分かったの。
聡子に問題って何です？
Sadako's mother. There were a few times where she had lived with de facto husbands, though those relationships didn't result in remarriage. From a young age, Satoko had been forced to call at least 2 or 3 people her father. At some point, Sadako's pranks escalated. She would spill food on purpose, turn over her plate, and even throw it. She would break the windows in the neighborhood and shoplift candy. She would put thumbtacks everywhere and set other traps to seriously hurt people. Not in the way she did now, just to get laughs. She was also fond of telling lies that would be found out right away, and people got mad at her every time. But she'd never, ever changed her behavior.
さとこちゃんのことを問題児なんて思わないでね。これは幼いさとこちゃんが母親を知らない男に取られまいとして取った自衛的な行為なの。
In regards to Satoko's problematic behavior, child psychology experts from public institutions indicated her actions were to draw her mother's attention to herself. They acknowledged that she had a form of harmful emotional trauma and declared that she needed counseling therapy from professionals. They didn't know whether that therapy had healed the wounds in her heart.
さとこちゃんはわざと体に傷を作り、お父さんに虐待を受けているとね。自分で通報してお父さんを追い出そうとした。
Oh my god. Oh my god.
でも結局サトコをいじめてたわけだろ、そのギフは。
いいえ、虐待の話は全部さとこちゃんの作り話だった。
Oh my god.
義理のお父さんはもちろん少し感情的な叱り方をしてしまったかもしれないけど、逸脱しているほどではなかったの。
Oh, motherfucker. Satoko had lied to chase away her stepfather, and they saw through her right away, and found out that Satoko had issues.
ひょっとしてそのせいで一昨年の冬は様子見に。
Oh, because in previous occasion, they've had been lied to. Oh my fucking god.
はい、ちゃんと昔の記録が残ってましたですから。さとこの嘘の可能性もあるから慎重にということになりましたのです。
なんだよそれ。つまりなんだよ。サトコは嘘をつくかもしれないから慎重に。だから様子を見ろってことになってるのかよ。
狼と羊飼いさんなのです。
A fable about telling a lie once, making others unwilling to believe you later.
ふざけんなよ。昔のことなんか全然無関係だろう。今現在起こっている事実だけが重要なんだろうが。サトコはおじに虐待されている。どうしてその事実が昔の出来事で歪められなきゃならねえんだよ。
Neither Sensei nor Wicked-chan had anything to say to that.
とにかくそれを慎重に判断するために保護士さんが昨日訪れましたのです。
And Sadako talked with them, put on the best, strongest smile she could manage, and denied abuse. Of course, she was probably being threatened to keep quiet about it by her uncle. Sadako was trying to outlast everything without asking for help. Sadako wanted to wait for Satoshi to come back home. She outright denied the truth of the abuse. What an idiot. What? You're not really enduring it. Do you really think pretending like this will actually bring Satoshi back? Just stop it already. Satoshi, he abandoned you. And the fact that he hasn't shown up to save you now is proof, isn't it? So just stop it. Please stop being weird and pretending to endure it.
今した話は全部忘れるように。いいですね。他の子に喋ったら先生怒りますからね。
Chase Sensei gave me a warning, then left to go back to the teacher's lounge.
圭一、聡子のことをかわいそうな子なんて思わないでくださいです。聡子はしっかり生きていますです。聡子は。
そんなの分かってる。俺たちのかけがえのない仲間だ。
聡子はまだ頑張っています。もう少し見守ってあげましょうです。相談所の人が今後も定期的に訪問すると言ってるのです。大変なことになったらすぐに助けてくれますよ。
Let's hope it's before it's something too late.
大変なことになった後だろ。
Any more than that would have sounded like I was picking a fight, so I firmly swallowed my next words and went back to the classroom. Mion and Lena were talking to Satoko like they always did. It was a silly conversation, a humorous, even fun one, like it wasn't any other all day. If Satoko really said she could endure it, then maybe I should do as Mika-chan said and watch over her. Maybe whatever help I offer will just go unwanted. Oh my fucking god, this game, this fucking chapter. Oh my fucking god. Oh my god.
さーて、お昼でございますわね。
God damn it. Motherfuck. God.
みー5人揃ってのお昼は久しぶりだね。やっぱりこうじゃないとダメだよね。
まったく同感同感。ほらほらケイちゃんも机寄せて。
Satoko brought her own desk over as well, grinning broadly. Even knowing nothing had been resolved, this exchange was pleasant and made me remember how fun it used to be.
いつまでも理科にお弁当を作ってもらっては悪いですわね。いいのですよ。聡子のお弁当を作るのは僕の楽しみなのです。
Mika-chan's such a good girl. Having such a good friend must be so reassuring.
僕に大きなハンバーグを入れて、聡子には焦げたのを入れて、聡子だけかわいそうかわいそうでニパー。
I take it back. Well, she's Mika-chan after all.
ほらほら見て見て、今日はほらオムライスなんだよ。マッシュルームとか美味しそうだよね。だよね、はう。いつもながらお見事なお手前でございましたよ。いつお嫁に行ってもおかしくない腕前ですわね。お嫁お嫁お嫁、お嫁を食べるとはあ。
レナにお嫁は NG ワードだね。以後控えるように。
ほんのちょっぴり反省しましたよ。
ところでミオンの弁当はなんだよ。今日のはまた趣が違って期待大だな。
おじさんはまったりと夕べのおかず詰め合わせね。煮物がいい感じなんだよ。ほら大根の色はかなりいいでしょ。わあ
美味しそうなのです。
煮物は一晩寝かせてからが真骨頂だな。これはかなりいけそうだ。よって聡子の分はなし。俺が全部食って感想を聞かせるから黙って見てろ。
なんですって。 私の分もおよこしなさいな。
Elbow, punch, headbutt. I'll use my knees too. Roar!
密着距離まで入れば私の有利は動きませんわね。ケイチさんの分のお大根が実に美味しいですわ。
ちっくしょう、バトル開始時から密着でいきなりコンボとは無念。
This little exchange, how long had it been? It looked like they ended up going with the wait and see approach, but maybe her uncle had realized he'd gone a little too far and would dial it back down. If her treatment improved a little, would that be a good thing? Satoko was grinning wider than I ever seen as she chomped down on her mouthful of the daikon she plundered for me. Did it really taste that good? Satoko was somewhat cute like that. And just as I've done many times, I grabbed her head and started petting it. Catch! Smack, flip-flop, crack, crack.
Satoko ちゃん?
It was so sudden that for a moment I didn't know what had happened. The back of my hand was stinging. I went to pet Satoko's head and then she hit my hand.
どうしたの、サトコ。
Satoko was scratching at her head. Still a pimple or something had appeared on it and became itchy. It was so sudden and so unprovoked that I didn't understand what happened.
どうしたサトコ。
At some point, her body had been covered in a thin layer of sweat and her breathing had turned ragged. When I pet her head, did she not like it? Was that what it meant?
お前、頭撫でられるの嫌いだったっけ？
Once again, slowly, I held out the palm of my hand and brought it close to Satoko's head. The instant the palm of my head touched her head, there was a shock like static electricity and Satoko began to howl. Fud swam. She grabbed my arm in both hands and as if flinging off a snake trying to cling to her, as if trying to throw away something dirty, she flew it violently. It happened too suddenly for me to react. I hit the desk behind me and both it and I fell to the floor. The classroom fell deathly silent. As Satoko bellowed, it sounded like she was in the throes of death and she unsteadily backed away. Then she threw up the food she'd just eaten. She vomited it all back up. Splish spot. The sound of Satoko's vomit hitting the floor rang throughout the classroom.
大丈夫かよ、サトコ。具合でも。
I reached out a hand and she swatted away with all her might. Such extreme strength that I fell onto the floor again. Satoko put both hands on her head as though protecting it, groaned some more and took a few steps back. And then she began swinging both hands around. Soon as nearby seats were forced to evacuate, she grabbed anything within reach, bento boxes, chairs, threw them, tossed them, and flung them about.
ちょっとやめなよ、サトコ。あんたどうしちゃったの？
She screamed out as if Mion's word had caused her physical pain. No one spoke a word to her. All the students were withdrawing behind us, leaving Satoko alone in the corner of the classroom. Around her there were desks and chairs all over the floor, bento waste scattered. It was terrible. All I could hear was Satoko's ragged breaths and the voices of the cicadas. Oh, Jesus, fuck. Fuck. The strings of tension loosened around Satoko. And maybe she suddenly grew scared of her own actions because she started trembling and gave a word of apology. But nobody knew who that apology was directed towards. So for now, I decided to answer as everyone's representative.
いや、そっちこそ大丈夫か？
ごめんなさいごめんなさい。
Our words didn't match each other at all. Satoko hugged her shoulders and back she went. Bang. She ran into the walker with the cleaning supplies in it. Even that made her give a little yell. The impact caused the public atop the walker to fall, making a loud sound that scared Satoko most of all. She almost jumped out of her skin, grabbing a bunch of the current in her hands. Nobody spoke to her. They could only look, not even remembering to blink.
ごめんなさいごめんなさいごめんなさいごめんなさい。私じゃないです私じゃないです。
Satoko, what on earth? I stood up, took a step away from everyone and approached Satoko.
何があったんだ。
だから私知らないです私知らないです。違うからもう嫌です。やめてください。許して
落ち着けよ。サトコ、俺がわかるか。
もう嫌です。
Every time I took a step forward, she grasped the curtains more tightly and cried out.
サトコ、俺だよ。ケイイチだ。わかんないのか。お前に危害なんか加えない。だから落ち着けって。大丈夫だ。俺はお前の味方だって。
助けて怖いのやだ痛いのやだ
Suddenly my shoulders were grabbed and I was dragged backward. It was when
ごめんケイチ君はちょっと後ろに行ってて。
after pulling me back, she ran towards Satoko in my place.
大丈夫だよさとこちゃん。もう怖いことなんかないよ。ほら安心して。やだもうやだニーニー助けてニーニー助けてよ。
As she gripped the curtains and kept calling for Nini, she continued to wail about being forgiven for something and to be saved from something. What is this? Mion gnashed her teeth and groaned, and there were tears falling from her firmly closed eyes.
どうなってんだよこれ。昨日で全部終わったんじゃないのか。今日からまた元の生活に戻っていくんじゃないのか。ミオン
Crap. There was a crazy sound. When I had taken the green supply walker and kicked it down to the ground, everyone stood surprised at what a sudden unexpected act of brutality. After that, when I embraced the bawling Satoko from behind, started crying with her stifled.
レナ、どうした。
ごめんケイチ君ちょっと黙ってて。
今のはなんだよ。どうしたんだよ。サトコから何か聞いたのか。何を聞いたんだよ。
サイナー 黙ってろって言ってんでしょ。
When this raw, hostile emotion has hit me like a brick. It was no more than a momentary howl of emotion for Rana, but it was more than that for me. She had shown me what was behind all that emotion, what was in her heart.
さとこちゃん。やだやだやだやだ。もうやだやだやだ。許して。何もできなかった私たちを許して。リリリリごめんね。ごめんね。
Forgive us for being unable to do anything. When his words made me feel as though the blood vessels in the back of my head were suddenly all turning to ash. My vision grew distant, blurred with gray, and the world lost its color. I thought we could save Satoko. But though I knew it would be the sooner the better, I thought there was no time limit for doing that. I never even dreamed that we could be too late. I had been making a huge mistake. I thought Satoko could be hurt, but never that she'd break. It was such a huge mistake. People, they break. Thinking that they don't is absolutely absurd. We needed to save Satoko. We needed to save her before she broke. That fatal lapse in awareness had been brought us on. Whose fault was it? Then one without saying. Mine, no, ours. We all took on the duty of saving Satoko, but we were neglected to the point of laziness. In that sense, this was the inevitable result. Even if this didn't happen today and it happened tomorrow or the day after or the next week, we would have just sat around doing nothing until that day. This was the obvious result. I slumped down to my knees, just as Mion and Rika-chan had done, and I too closed my eyes tight and couldn't stop myself from sobbing.
何の騒ぎですか？ちょっと何があったんです？
The teacher came, and her face screwed up at the terrible spectacle before her. The instant she realized the teacher was here, Satoko went through another complete change. She wiped her face with the curtains and, like nothing happened, smiled.
北条さん、これは一体何事ですか？ちょっとレナさんと喧嘩になってしまっただけですのよ。お弁当をめぐってちょっぴり大暴れなんですの。ね。
Lena didn't nod and fine, but the instant Satoko wished that she nodded without shrink. The rest of the class couldn't keep up with her extreme changes. We all just stared in a daze.
ちょっと悪ふざけをしただけなんですのよ。皆さん度肝を抜かれすぎでございますわね。
Satoko would probably sweep the whole thing under the rug. For what? Her heart is torn to pieces, so what? What else? You wanted your Nini to help, didn't you? But unfortunately for you, Satoshi doesn't ever intend on coming back. It's never that easy. He won't just conveniently show up and save you. So you don't have to wait for him anymore. You can cry, beg for help, and you can run away. Fuck.
私たちが無力だから。
Mion summer said. She spoke them, those few words that tormented me countless times. Those words were spelled, and when I heard them, my whole body suddenly regained its calm. My emotions all swept away like they'd never been there, like a wave departing. And then the world's cover flipped inside out. Field of view expanded. My head grew remarkably cold, and I felt my mind's volume had grown even wider than the classroom we were in. At the time, my soul was doubtless sweet, no longer in a small, petty vessel of my head, but flowing in the air a little bit above it. It was a mysterious feeling of release. I broke free of the cramped confines of my skull and stretched out my roots in all directions as far as I wanted to. It was a strange feeling and one I'd never felt ever before. An odd sense of exhilaration. My sharpened senses caused me to transcend. My mind was sharper than a knife's edge, and I immediately decided that spending the time to let myself be crushed with grief would be an absolute waste. I erased all the garbage information from my brain. I expelled the pointless emotions presenting obstacles to action.
Mion, お前は呪ってろ。自分の無力さをいつまでも。
え？
If I could have taken back what had happened by crying by it, I would cry it all day. The fact was, this was how things had turned out. I couldn't take back what had happened. The top priority then would be to prevent the situation from worsening further and to sever the chains of misfortune. Till today, I'd been looking at things so narrow-mindedly I could scarcely believe it. They saved Satoko. The only thing to do was to save Satoko. That's the only thing I thought about. I didn't allow myself to realize the most basic, direct, and certain way of removing the source of Satoko's unhappiness. No, actually, I realized it yesterday. But as for the means, I relied on some stupid curse from some dumb deity. I never considered carrying the task out myself. I would obliterate Satoko's uncle. There were plenty of ways to do it. This was a task that held infinite methods. Ironically, the method of saving Satoko required mostly money. But the method of killing that man pretty much took no money at all. I could kill him with the least amount of investment. The least amount of money suited him. It was only the weight of his life. I kept eliminating needless, worthless information in my head, replenishing it with only the knowledge I needed to achieve my goal. I used every cell in my brain to think about how I'd kill him. The way I killed him didn't matter. I would allow any method from whatever time or whatever country as long as it ended in a quick and certain death. If I were to have an additional condition, it would be to not get caught. Removing him was an act designed to return the peaceful times we had with Satoko. If I was arrested in exchange for the removal, then we might as well have killed each other. If only him gone, we'd go back to our normal lives. That was my supreme objective, my ultimate goal. Kill him, definitely. But definitely don't leave evidence either. Two alternative odds with one another. The condition of not leaving a trace back to me automatically narrowed the number of murder methods. The witnesses were an absolute nonce. Fortunately, given the right time and his hour, there would be nobody around. I mentally reconstructed the land around Satoko's house. The number of pedestrians different at different times. The movement algorithm of the neighbors. Would I lure him out or charge at him? What would my weapon be? When and where would I carry this out? Where it needed to be somewhere I wouldn't leave a trace. When it needed to be as soon as possible for Satoko's safety without wasting even a millisecond. This is absurd. Completely absurd. When I thought about it this way, it struck me how easy the act of killing was. If I could leave evidence, if I was just going to kill him, anyone could easily turn into a murderer. But a reason prevented that. It told us doing so would get us arrested for sure. In the end, being arrested by the police was the final thing preventing people from committing homicide. Absurd. If you went all the way out into the very middle of the ocean, you wouldn't leave any trace at all. Anyone would drop those they hated into the depths if they knew that. It was all too easy to simply remove him. I could leave class right now, grab a metal baseball bat or something from the schoolyard, go to his house and attack him. Estimated time would be 25 minutes. If I wanted us to kill each other, it wouldn't even be minutes. I could do it in 15,000 seconds. If I knew just how much his continued existence depended on me, he was nothing. I could expel him from this world within just 1,500 seconds after making up my mind. From when I decided what to do, he only had 15,000 seconds. Actually, if I ran full speed to his house, that number would go down even further. But he was alive. He was still part of this world at this very moment, having torn Satoko's body and mind to shreds. Why? Because I was letting him live. I was permitting him to live, so he was alive. If I reincited that permission, he would be evacuating this mortal coil within 15,000 seconds. You think I'd let you live to breathe in 50,000 seconds more seconds of air? I'm taking that permission back right here, right now. You better thank me for letting me live until today. However, I actually need more than 1,500 seconds. I'm not just going to end you. Getting back our own lives is far more important. It's only you I'd be clearly cutting out of this world. They won't find a culprit. I'll forget that I dirtied my hands on the likes of you as naturally as I brush my teeth before bed. So to do that, I'll make a special exception for you and give you more than 15,000 seconds. I'll give you special permission to keep on living as you have until I can construct the perfect plan for your murder. Wait, Ketchy. You can't let that time go to waste. Yeah, I know. I'll kill him quickly. I'll remove him with certainty. I won't even waste much time to perfect that plan. Think back. Tomorrow's Wanagagashi, isn't it? Last year on the night of Wanagagashi, her aunt died. Her head was busted open by some deviant and her brain splattered everywhere. That's it. He's someone who deserves to be given death on the night of Wanagagashi. Hey, Oshiro-sama. You call yourself a guardian, but you didn't protect Satoko. Cursing Satoko's family for the damn stuff is your own business, but now you've made Satoko unhappy when she didn't have anything to do with it. I, Ketchimaru, hereby denounce you, the guardian deity of Himizawa, a failure. We don't need you. Go back to the deepest, darkest part of your shrine this year. Besides, if you had just cursed and killed both our aunt and our uncle last year, none of this would have ever happened. The curse this year, it's not on you. I'll be the one deciding. It won't be the three families controlling the serial deaths behind the scenes, no. Not some vague people who I can't tell if they're buffoons or not. This time I'll be the one to deliver divine judgment. So don't get in my way. Just watch. Stay quiet and watch. I'll obliterate him. I'll wipe him off the face of the earth. I will stomp out his very existence. Go away, disappear, and die! I'll tear your heart apart just like you did to Satoko! All of your blood as payment!
Keiichi-kun, 大丈夫?
Lena, Mion, and Wika-chan were looking after me. Had I fallen to the floor?
急に倒れたからびっくりしたよ。うなされてなかった？うなってたよ。
うるさい。黄色い声で話しかけるな。
My friends gave a start and backed away.
なんだよ。
One on the others, they exchanged glances, unsure of what to say, and stood confused for a few moments.
今の圭一君の声。
当たり前だろ。
Lena gulped firmly and opened her mouth.
今一瞬圭一君そのすごい目だった。
Oh, son of a bitch. Oh, son of a bitch.
目？光の角度でそう見えたんだろ。バカバカしい。
見間違いじゃないよ。あんな目初めて見た。
What were those guys talking about? They've all been too scared of me lately.
前原圭一君だよね。
What was Lena saying? Who else do I look like except Ketchimaru? The look I gave her seemed to speak quite eloquently to those irritated thoughts. She understood and quickly apologized.
ごめん。気にしないでね。
Oh my god. Oh my. That was the hardest scene I've ever gone through. In any video game. Recorded or not. That was the hardest fucking thing I've ever seen. And now, everyone has a breaking point. We all do. And I think, just like Mion before, now Ketchy has those eyes. The eyes to murder, to kill. It's so interesting. It's so interesting. If you guys enjoy that type of content, hit that subscribe button. If you liked it, hit the like button. Want to tell me something, put it down in the comments below. Want to check out Discord server hanging out in, or my Twitter, check the description below. And yeah, next time, guys, we're going to murder Satoko's uncle. So I'll see you guys next time. See ya!